What's up, guys? Today we are reviewing a piece of hardware, a piece of tech that I've never reviewed before. We are reviewing a treadmill, but this is not just any treadmill. It's a treadmill made by the same company that makes one of my favorite smartwatches of all time, the watch I still wear every day, the Mobvoi TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra. And we are looking at the Mobvoi Home Treadmill Incline. They reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I wanted to review this thing. Unfortunately, in between that email, me saying yes and it arriving, I did in fact contract COVID-19 and I have been quite ill. And so I've not really been able to do crazy long runs on it, but I have been able to run on it a little bit here and there. I've kind of actually been using it as means to bounce back from COVID a little bit, get a little bit of exercise while the weather's been a little bit rough. So it's actually been really nice to have around that I can get on and do a quarter mile or a half mile at an okay pace and get the heart going a little bit so that I'm not being too sedentary. But also, I can't push myself too hard right now. Again, COVID. But that being said, this was actually a fairly interesting treadmill to me. Typically, I probably wouldn't have accepted this, but you may have seen this on this video here running through. There is sort of a hook for me that I thought was very interesting. Yes, this thing can incline up to 15 degrees and all that stuff is very cool. It's very nice. You'll get to see it a lot here in a minute. It's very well built, very premium. It did not take me long to put it together. I should mention that. I think it was like half an hour with me being fully in the throes of COVID. So I probably could have got it done a lot faster if I wasn't having to take breaks to catch my breath from turning a screw. But that's the situation I was in. But even still, it was very, very fast to get this thing built. So that was awesome. But the big thing here, connect with smartwatches. This thing has an app. It's just the Mobvoi Treadmill app, and it works on any Wear OS device. My wife loaded it up on her Pixel watch. I've got it here on my watch. And it's really, really good, actually, for a lot of people. My wife has her treadmill upstairs. She jumps on that thing and she runs, and then it gives her the readout, how many steps, the miles, the calories, and then she goes to her health tracking app and has to type that stuff in manually. Well, using this setup, using this watch, or any Wear OS watch, which, if you're watching this channel, you very likely have a Wear OS watch, run on this treadmill, and it's going to grab all that stuff for you and throw it straight into your health tracking app. So that's pretty slick. And of course, I'll be showing more of that later. A noise-free motor. It is, I will attest to this, it is a lot quieter than the treadmill that we have upstairs, which is extremely loud. Even when she's upstairs, it is so loud downstairs, it's not even funny. This thing, you could totally watch TV potentially in the same room. It's actually surprisingly quiet. 8.7 mile per hour speed range, which is definitely fast enough for the vast majority of people. When I run, I might hit, 6 miles an hour if I'm really pushing it, really trying to hit a good time. Most people are not running anywhere near 8.7 miles an hour consistently on a treadmill like that. We're running for distance. Sprinting, sure, but who runs that fast for a long time? Maybe you do. Maybe you're an Ironman athlete and you're like, I run 12 miles an hour for 3 days, but most people don't. Of course, a really big factor here for a lot of people is going to be the price. $5.99 is not a, impulse buy for most people. Although do keep in mind that you are occasionally going to see coupons like this. $180 off really brings this thing down quite a bit. That puts it in a pretty nice little price bracket. If you look around on Amazon, it looks like a lot of the name brand treadmills do start around this price and up. Now, I'm not going to do a full price comparison here for you because I'm not a treadmill expert anyways. I'm simply going to show you what I think about this thing, and that's the price where you're going to be able to find it. I'm going to kind of trust you to make that call on your own. So what we have here is the Mobvoi Home Treadmill Incline. And you can already see from this perspective, one of my favorite things about it. Most treadmills are really quite large. And this thing, while it's sort of folded up, I'll kind of sit in my computer chair here, and you can see that it's really not very large at all. It's quite easy to have here in this room and to still have plenty of space in the room that is totally usable. And all you have to do is just sort of push on this little bar and it will begin to lower on its own in a very controlled, very safe sort of way, which you can see here. And at that point, you have a pretty normal looking treadmill that's going to, take up a lot more space than it just now did. But I think you can really tell now how much space I was just saving by having it stood back up. And if you want to put it back up, it really is as simple as reaching down and pushing the thing back up. I was able to do that with my foot and then one hand. Very, very simple, very easy, and just really convenient. As we look at the rest of the treadmill, you'll see the tried and true little mechanism to make sure you don't hurt yourself too badly. Clip this onto your clothes, and if you fall off, it pulls that magnet off, and it's going to shut the thing down so that you're not able to, like I said, hurt yourself too severely. You've got two little handles here to hold onto and a screen that, it looks pretty good. It's very simple, right? This is not an overly complicated treadmill. We do have another treadmill in the house that's actually upstairs, and it's very confusing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to it, and like I said, it's just kind of overwhelming and confusing. This thing is very, very simple. If you want to start, you hit start/stop, and it's going to count you in, and it's going to start. At that point, you're using plus and minus to change the speed, or using target to change the incline, which you can see right there. And it's all motorized, right? I'm going to put this thing up to 15, and you should be able to see it now slowly raising up. It's not super, super fast, but that's probably good that it stays, relatively controlled and safe. But you can see what that incline is now, and that's a decent little incline. Although the best feature about this thing that I really like the most has to do with your smartwatch integration. You can see right now there's nothing on the screen talking about my smartwatch. But if I fire up the TicWatch Treadmill app on my watch, which I'm currently doing with my other hand, you should see here in just a moment, boom, app is connected. It's so, so fast. And at that point, once you start, let's start it again, and you'll see that some of the data will be a little bit different. You'll see that my watch has now automatically started tracking what I'm doing here, and you'll also see down here, it should start showing my heart rate as I get started. I probably actually need to start walking on the thing so that it knows. So now it's counting my steps. There's my heart rate, which is coming directly from the watch, all automatically. And like I said, it's really nice and simple how quick this is, and now all of this data, whatever I do while I'm on this treadmill, will be automatically synced to my watch, and then by virtue of that, to my tracking app. So I don't have to then take this data, take the calories, and then plug it into another app, manually type this stuff in, or just try and rely on the tracking of just walking in general to get this stuff correct. It's going to be much more accurate because of this. One of my biggest problems with this treadmill kind of comes from the fact of how compact it is. I like how small it is and how it can fold up and be really out of the way, but because of how compact it is, I think you can see here, these handlebars are very, very low. I can almost have my arms straight while using it. So I wind up typically just not using the handlebars and just running, holding on to nothing. Now, if you're comfortable to do that, that's fine. That's going to work out okay for you. But you also have to keep in mind that the actual size of the belt down here that you're running on is also quite small. I mean, I can pretty much stand all the way across it like this. I have one foot on one and one foot on the other. So it does feel small, and it might feel a little unsafe to you if you're not holding on to those handles as you're running, in particular as you hit a high rate of speed. So you're going to really want to utilize this thing because, as you're running, you're holding on to nothing. You might drift a little bit. Safety probably first when it comes to using that thing. So where does that leave me on the Mobvoi home treadmill incline? I'm sure there are some really nice treadmills out there with some really nice features that are probably very, very expensive. I'm sure there are probably some really budget-minded ones that are really solid as well. But all that being said, I would be looking for something kind of like this, something that is compact, something that has wheels that I can move it around very, very easily, something that's going to work automatically with not just an app, but an app on a device I already own. So that kind of synergy is going to be very important to me and maybe important to you as well. And if you factor all these things in with the quietness as well, I think that they've got a fairly compelling package here. Now, again, I'm not a treadmill expert, so you're going to have to do your research in terms of competition with this thing on your own. But I think that this treadmill seems pretty solid, and $599 minus $180 with that coupon actually isn't too bad. Like if we were still looking for our first treadmill and I knew what I know about this thing and I knew that I could get it for that price, this might be the way that we ended up going. It's quite solid. A huge shout out to Mobvoi for sending this treadmill over. Let me know if this is something that you enjoyed watching, something that's pretty far off the beaten path for this channel. I'd love to hear feedback on that. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.